Strasbourg, 1518. The Holy Roman Empire, a time of religious upheaval, social anxieties, and the ever-present threat of disease. In this environment, a bizarre event unfolded, an affliction unlike any other, the dancing plague. What began with a single woman's compulsive movements escalated into a mass hysteria, compelling hundreds to dance uncontrollably, many to their deaths. This is the documented record of the strangest epidemic in European history, and we will study the events to try to comprehend what occurred. The historical record states that the incident began in mid-July. A woman identified as Frau Trophea stepped into the street and began to dance. Not festive dance, but a frenzied, relentless, and solitary performance. She did not cease for days. Observers described her state as one of distress and exhaustion, yet she remained animated. The city magistrates were perplexed. Doctors were summoned. The public watched in a strange mixture of concern and morbid fascination. Within a week, more than 30 others had joined her, seized by the same irresistible impulse. These were ordinary individuals, not professional performers. They came from various social strata. What brought them to the public square, and why this unrelenting motion? By August, the number of dancers had swelled to nearly 400. The city was in crisis. Local authorities, believing the dancing was a physical ailment, implemented a peculiar remedy. They constructed a stage in the town square, hired musicians, and encouraged the dancers to continue, hoping that sustained activity would exhaust the compulsion. Contemporary accounts reveal this action was advised by physicians who had no prior experience with the condition. They could only resort to what seemed logical. This only served to intensify the epidemic. Far from tiring, the dancers became more frantic. Eyewitness accounts speak of individuals collapsing from exhaustion, suffering strokes, and even dying from heart failure. The historical records document a rise in mortality, attributed directly to the relentless dancing. Why did this remedy amplify the issue? What miscalculations were made by the health experts of that time? One prominent theory attributes the dancing plague to ergot poisoning, caused by consuming rye grain contaminated with the fungus Claviceps purpurea. Ergot poisoning, or ergotism, can produce a range of symptoms, including hallucinations, convulsions, and muscle spasms. The afflicted could experience a distorted perception of reality, prompting uncontrollable movement. The geographic region of Strasbourg historically cultivated rye, making it a common staple in the diet. This theory suggests that a batch of contaminated grain may have been consumed by the population. Analysis of soil samples from the time offers some support for this possibility. However, several challenges exist. Ergotism typically causes a more spasmodic, less coordinated form of movement than the described dancing. Furthermore, ergot poisoning generally affects individuals randomly, rather than in a concentrated group exhibiting a similar affliction. Was the environment of the time enough to provoke an ergot contamination with additional events to create this mass reaction? Another prominent explanation points toward mass hysteria, also known as sociogenic illness. This theory proposes that the dancing plague was a manifestation of collective anxiety and stress, exacerbated by the social and political climate of 16th century Strasbourg. The period was marked by poverty, famine, and disease, and a deep-seated fear of divine punishment. Religious fervor was at its zenith, with sermons emphasizing sin and damnation. This produced a climate of intense emotional pressure. The dancing, therefore, could be viewed as a physical manifestation of pent-up psychological stress. Individuals under severe stress can develop physical symptoms with no underlying organic cause. The phenomenon is further compounded when individuals observe the symptoms in others, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of distress. It is theorized that the individuals in Strasbourg experienced a subconscious desire to dance to rid themselves of these oppressing feelings. Is it possible this was a shared hallucination of the citizens? Religious beliefs played a significant role in the lives of medieval Europeans. Some historians suggest the dancing was linked to Saint Vitus, a Catholic saint believed to have the power to cure or inflict a dancing mania. Individuals experiencing uncontrolled movements often attributed their condition to the saint's curse. During the period, the association between Saint Vitus and dancing was widespread, with pilgrimages and rituals designed to appease the saint. Perhaps the dancers believed they were compelled by Saint Vitus, either as punishment for sins or in hope of a miracle. This might explain why the epidemic occurred in the Rhineland region, where Saint Vitus was heavily venerated, but it does not explain the high death toll or the unusual nature of the dancing. Was it truly a religious experience or a physical response to mental strain? It is likely that the dancing plague was not caused by a single factor, but by a confluence of circumstances. A mild outbreak of ergot poisoning could have triggered initial symptoms, predisposing individuals to heightened suggestibility. The prevailing atmosphere of anxiety and religious fervor, coupled with the existing social and economic hardships, could have amplified the effects, leading to mass hysteria. The belief in Saint Vitus further reinforced the phenomenon, providing a framework for understanding and interpreting the affliction. The city authorities' decision to encourage the dancing based on misguided medical advice unintentionally exacerbated the situation. The dancing likely amplified the psychological effects. The dancing plague of 1518 remains a profound historical mystery. While no definitive explanation exists, the combined influence of ergot poisoning, mass hysteria, and religious beliefs offers a potential framework for understanding this bizarre and tragic episode. This incident is more than a historical anomaly. It acts as a study of the power of psychological stress, social conditions, and the weight of belief on human behavior. The dancing plague reminds us that history is often complex. The answers we seek can be obscured by the biases of the time. Even with all the information gathered, some things will remain mysteries.